Today we have a Honda pressure washer. Tires are flat. I think it's even cracked too. Yeah, there's some pretty nasty cracking in there. So even if we could get on the bead, it's not going to hold air very well. They're both like that. Does this one have a tube? Yeah, that one might have a tube in it. Well, maybe both of them do. Kind of looks like it. I can't quite tell. Huh? I'm assuming they don't, but why not try the easiest solution first? I need a pair of pliers. You probably need to see better. I'm thinking that's a big no. Yeah. Oh well. One can have hoped. I have some tires that don't match. Oh wait, no. Oh, they do match. They're black. I just shove on there because these are pretty old. Anyway, I have no idea what's going on with the pump. Compression. Definitely has compression. That's on off. That's on. Let's take a look at this. What do they have for a filter? Huh. Not horrible at all. It's actually really, really good. There's gas in here though. I suppose without even knowing if it runs or not, we should probably at least give it a yank. See what happens. Make sure it wasn't like locked or there was a whole bunch of fluid is in this cylinder. Hydro lock, there we go. Nothing. If that's not too surprising. Yeah, show nothing. Before we should do that, should probably yeah, has oil. Pretty decent oil too. Here's something that's interesting. This is the fuel pump. If this hose isn't connected, which this is obviously not the right one because there's a whole bunch of these connectors, it will not run. The tank is higher than the carb, so it will not run. If this is bad, which happens very rarely to be honest, or what's a lot more common is this becomes dislodged or unconnected. It needs pressure from the crankcase to kind of pump the fuel. So if you pull and pull and pull, clean the carb, you do whatever, and it's still not happening, that's probably the reason why. I double check that. And if not, then you probably need to go through a little bit more of a examination. Well, another thing that could have happened is that they drained the bowl out before they put it away. There's a little screw back there that you just unscrew, remaining the bowl fuel comes out, and then your carb is dry. That's how you're supposed to do it. I give that maybe a 0.5% chance though, but if that did occur, we're going to be pulling a lot more. So how about we just, I need to get a new can. Get this bottle or this, put a little fuel in there, see what happens. Turn it on, no choke. Enough fuel in there. This thing is not wired to function correctly. Of course, the airplanes show up. This little plunger, for whatever reason, is the problem. I mean, it's not meant for this, so it's probably the reason why. I figured 2-cycle oil would at least have some type of lubrication in there. There you go. Oh, that was promising. What do you say we try that again? The only reason why I say that is maybe it just needs a little time to pump some fuel into the carburetor. I have no idea how old the fuel is though, and I smelt it and it was kind of geriatric. It wasn't horrible, enough to at least let it run. Nope. We're going to have to do a carb clean and get some tools. So, tad bit on the ram side. These pumps aren't horrible. But the good thing is about these engines is that it's at 160 according to the markings on the side. Usually there would be a sticker, but in my case there's not. But, oh, that's another thing. Don't take these off. But even if the pump's bad, you can pretty much put like probably up to a 2700 psi pump on this pretty easily. I have you zoomed in because the orientation of my table just doesn't allow it to really get close up, unfortunately. And well, I know you guys need to see, I also need to work. Okay, so see all that? Okay, good. This gasket we're not gonna remove. The corresponding one, I hope doesn't come off. It doesn't, okay, good. That comes out. Remember, it goes up, not down. Used. Use those annoying little fuel clamps that you get like at the hardware or the auto parts store instead of the normal ones. don't want this gasket on the other side to come off. I need a 1/4 inch. Excuse me. Okay, so now fuel line should come off. Something tells me that's the wrong size fuel line because that just came off way too easily. The rest of it, except for this throttle. And there we go. Okay, so now this comes off. Go to the cleaning. Well, now that we have this off, let's take a look and see what we have in here. Nope, that's not new. It's not horribly dirty though. I mean, it's old, but the carb itself isn't horrible. We are definitely going to be needing to wash this, so get our bowl ready. Honda needles I don't wash because they're the rubber type. And you want to be especially careful if if you use carb cleaner, because the carb cleaner gets on that needle, it could potentially ruin it. It will probably be fine the day that you're fixing it, but a few days down the road, it potentially can crack, maybe even swell the day you're fixing it, cause problems then, but just generally not healthy for them, so don't do that. Oops. Let's push down the emulsion tube, maybe that helps. Times like this, I have to take one of these picks, clean it up, and then shove it down the hole where the emulsion tube is right here. Sometimes an Allen key also helps, because this isn't very long. Sometimes you need a little longer one. What causes this problem is the fact that the jet is smaller than the bowl nut, so the threads on this section are wider than the ones right here. So you can't really just take it out. This is usually a sign that it's pretty gooey in there. Come on, get out of there. Really bad in there. And when you put your pick in here, make sure you don't actually get the jet. If I push it back in a little bit. Is there something blocking it from coming out? Maybe more authority. Okay, where's that one head? The only reason I don't like using these is because sometimes you put too much a large one in there. It doesn't quite fit. Wow, this is bad. It's been a long time since I've had one this hard to get out. Usually they just come out. I think we're getting somewhere finally. This happens, but not very often. Finally. And that just came right out. Oh, someone's been in here before. The threads are a little cross-threaded in there. It's probably hitting the very last one. Okay, so now we're finally done with that. Let's take this off. Now if it's really dirty, I take a Dremel and cut this off. But this isn't all that bad. And even if it was to be really dirty, and I didn't do it, and for whatever reason it's not idling well, I can just take that off pretty easily and just blow through with the air compressor. Okay. I think that's about it. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the washer. So, this is part of the quick connect on the other side. I looked at the pump when the cleaner was cleaning, and the quick connect needed a little love, so I'm going to clean and oil that. But in addition, this seal seems pretty good, but there was another one right here that just literally crumbled off, so maybe that one gets exposed to more. Find yourself one of these, a universal O-ring kit. They will save you. Nope, that one's too big. Be amazed how many times this thing had the right size. You would assume that too big can scrunch down, but no. And especially since this is already pressed against it, just kind of there to hold it in place or keep the water in place. But I wanted to show that because this is going to get screwed on here with tape, of course, and then put a little oil in here, kind of loosen it up a little bit because it's pretty nasty in there. I'll just do that now. Is this really necessary? No. But something I would like to do. Something that is also good to kind of use is marine grease. It's used for a lot of, obviously, marine work, like boats, but marine grease is especially designed for water. It keeps it really nice and smooth. Well, that seems to be a lot better now, after I know it works, because it's a little hard for me to find marine grease locally, so I have to buy it on the internet, and it's not too cheap. So I use it pretty sparingly if I don't need to, or if I need to use it just when the timer calls for it. But let's see if it works first. Okay, carb's done. Go ahead and pull that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is all good. Looks pretty clean. Emulsion tube, pretty clean. Let's blow it off. Make sure we can see through all the little holes. Oh, that's a big bug. Let's put that back in there. The slot without the hole is the one that goes in first. Next, the jet. When you blow into this, make sure you blow in from this end. I think the jet has a little scarring on it too. And when you look in on this, you want to really do a good job, because any type of, you know what, let's not even take a chance. I was going to say any type of buildup, even though you can see through, it can still cause a lot of issues. So even though we cleaned it, let's put a wire, like a brush in there. Okay. So to kind of go off on a little bit more on the previous part, usually I wouldn't be putting new seals in the pump unless I knew it was working, because you could turn it on if it's leaking, like where you plug in the garden hose or the connections or something. You can put those on, no problem. That one was plugged, so I figured I might as well take it off, and I saw that, so why not? But usually I wouldn't be replacing seals on a pump that I have no idea on the condition of. This one's a, there we go. Looks pretty good. Passes the test. When you blow in here, you don't really have to, you know, try to lift this up. You just want to do like a nice healthy amount of pressure. And this one, the opposite end of the inlet of the fuel is where this goes. This is the part that I was mentioning earlier, that you can just drain the fuel out of. Technically you're supposed to. Or you could just let the whole thing run out of fuel, but it's a little harder on the pressure washer. Especially, so on a pump is a horrible good design. No matter what, it's going to have a lot of wear, especially these types of pumps. The more wear that you are going to receive is when it's on with full amount of pressure. So leaving it idle and running with water connected to it but not releasing the pressure is very bad for it. You don't want to do it too much because it can overheat. But you also don't want to have it dry for very long either. that's not as bad. In the ideal scenarios, it builds pressure, releases it, so you know when you use it. Pretty self-explanatory on that. So unless you're just going to be sitting there with your hand on the wand, blowing the pressure off and maybe pressure washing a driveway 4 or 5 times and then burn all the fuel, all you have to do, undo this, let it drain, maybe turn it on for, if you can. Actually, no, not with this one. Don't even turn it on because then you'll just be pumping more fuel. No, just undo this and let it drain out. Get like a little bowl, catch the fuel. If you don't want it to be leaking on the ground, or maybe there's grass or dirt or something. If it's on the concrete, it's probably not too much of a problem. But okay, I'm gonna put this on same way it came off. Bring you guys back later. Nope, have to put in this. Almost forgot the idle jet. Well, idle circuit. That on tight. This on. This has a little bit of a witness mark, so I know how far to tighten it. And even though this is an adjustable one, so you can even adjust the idle right here and on the actual machine. Okay, should be good. Okay, now I'm going to be right back. Okay, so you would assume that this would be a lot harder to take the gas out. You'd have to take off anything the carb's already on. All you have to do is disconnect this and put this lower than the tank and drain it out. So I'm going to go do that, and your light's flashing, so I'm going to put a new battery as well. Here we are. That's nice and drained. Let's put some good gas in here. A little under a quarter. Whenever I fill up tanks like this, I never fill them up all the way. I'm not here to pay for someone's fuel. So, like I said before, I don't feel like pulling on this thing to fuel going through, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. Put some of these away so they don't rattle off everywhere. Probably should have done this. Not funny. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to use my little bottle here. That should be enough. Recenter this a little bit here. Oh no, I forgot the choke lever. I have to put that back on later. See, this is why I hate this design. This always happens to me. Anyway, so on, off. I think that's it. Not the greatest, but could have been worse. We're going to try that a little bit more. Try it again. It's starting to be a lot easier if there was choke. Okay, there you have it. Engine works. I'm going to put the choke back on. Okay. Attempt number 2. I have the choke lever on. It's on choke. Let's turn it on and see what happens. that surging's from just having barely enough fuel. Probably. Let me connect the hose, take everyone outside, see if the pump works. Okay, so I got the battery replaced in you. Put the hose in there. Whenever you don't know the condition or how long it's been since, you might see Garage Dog. Yeah, you do, okay. Of the hose, I like to connect the garden hose and the hose for the wand to the pump and let it just kind of clean itself out. A big chunk of rust and just general yard debris came out. And then I connect the wand without the tip in there. And you can see how much I drained it. I probably let it sit there for a good 5 minutes just to make sure it's not going to cause any damages. Because those tips are very, very small, like the holes in the tips, excuse me. You don't want to plug those up. That could be a giant pain. So I'm going to go try turn it on and see if it builds pressure. I checked the oil on the pump. Pump looks good. So let's go check together. Okay, well, as you can tell, it runs. I think I'm going to change the oil in it, and the engine, and maybe the pump. I just looked at the level, I didn't really look at the quality of the pump oil. And put the new tires on it. That should be about it. Okay, well, this was a nice little, easy little project. If you like what you see, keep on watching. Definitely subscribe. I'm going to keep on posting if you keep on watching. So, I'll see everyone later. Bye.